Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you for this very important hearing. I wish that I had been able to spend the full morning here. We've all been pulled in so many different corners, but just the few minutes that I've been here with colleagues and listening to the comments and the concerns, know that I feel like everybody's speaking to me and my family situation. I just told Senator Moran that when he mentioned the hopes and dreams of young researchers being dashed, he's talking about my nephew. I called him yesterday because it was his birthday. He's a junior at Marquette. And he says, I'm floored by what we're seeing. All I want to do is find the cure. And Senator Coons, he wants to help find a cure for ALS because of how that has touched our family. And when we talk about hope and what happens when you don't have hope, I can tell you, because the ALS community reaches out to me as one of their advocates here, as I know they do with you, Senator Coons, and they said when they see the news about what is happening, the lack of hope pushes them to the point where unfortunately many are thinking about further shortening their time. Because without hope, how do you get through each day knowing that you are incrementally on the decline? And so the significance of what we're talking about and the contributions that we see through NIH, through our federal entities, those who are getting up every single morning to focus on hard things to make that incremental difference. And then those who back them. I see some in the audience here today who are giving their time and their treasure for advocacy in Alzheimer's, in ALS. I guess I want to ask a specific question here. We're dealing with unprecedented hits to the NIH and to those who have given their all to be there for others. We do a good job, I think, of taking the opportunities in other research areas to better gain leverage with the advancements that we make. How can we do more, particularly at this really difficult time, to ensure that the coordination that we have between complementary research efforts, and I see this with ALS, where NIH is focusing on understanding the biology, DOD is looking at the early stage drug development, the FDA is doing clinical trials, so you've got a lot going that comes together. What more can and should we be doing? And with the funding constraints that we are looking at right now, how are these collaboration efforts being compromised? And I'll throw this out to either you, Dr. Parika, or Dr. Haller.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just very quickly, that coordination is vital when you're trying to approach something like ALS, which has so many different facets. But I'll tell you right now that at this moment, I want to just put a real face on this. We keep stiff upper lips here, but the scientific community is in paralysis right now. It is in paralysis across the country, in every state. There are graduate students, there are scientists, there are senior scientists who, instead of thinking about the very problems you're talking about, are thinking about the next grant, they're thinking about the next 6 weeks. And so if I can put a little bit of urgency for this committee, it is not about the FY26 appropriations process, which is going to be really important, and you're going to see a skinny budget that will scare the heck out of all of us. It's about the obligation of funding right now and making sure that we actually see some stability. That word stability, Madam Chair, that you used is so important, and we have lost that right now. And there's paralysis that doesn't enable us to spend the time on thinking about the very good question you just asked.
Dr. Haller?
Thank you very much, Senator, for this very important question. Research is about stability and continuity, and I'll give you an example. We have recruited a wonderful, brilliant young researcher, Emily Spalding. She has been awarded for her PhD research on neuronal mechanisms. She's working on ALS. She's working in roundworms and understands how transporting molecules across neurons is important. Now, as a young researcher, she's driven by curiosity. She's driven by a desire to understand knowledge, to make contributions to understanding ALS and the disease. But at certain points of her career, she needs federal support. She needs this continuity. When you start as a young student, you need federal funding. When you embark on postdoctoral research, or in her case now waiting for the last 7 months, that her grant she has written, which is excellent and will be reviewed, and it hasn't been reviewed. So this stability, this is what we need now at the moment. And then later on, when she becomes an accomplished scientist and is pursuing bold ideas, then federal support is needed again. And as was already mentioned, young people, we train them when they discuss what to do with their lives and whether they want to pursue a career in biomedical science. This message of uncertainty is deleterious.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman.